Hello and welcome to my video project for ICS 382 course at Metropolitan State University with Dr. Sue Fitzgerald. My name is Jaya Vang, and this video presentation will focus on firewall and cybersecurity. A quick disclaimer, this video is solely for educational purposes only, and I am not liable for any damages that could be caused when using these demonstrations. So for this video, we'll take a look at how a firewall works to prevent us from being victims of online hacking. I believe it's a very important aspect of cybersecurity to understand. Subtopics to be covered, but are not limited to, include firewall security policies, stateful inspections, personal firewalls, and establishing a network security perimeter. In addition, I will also be performing a mini demonstration with the usage of a firewall software. Now let's get started. With a tremendous amount of increase in cybersecurity threats on the internet, the security of data traveling over the network has become a significant concern for many individuals and modern businesses. According to Gizmodo, in 2019, a collection of 2.7 billion identity records consisting of 774 million unique email addresses and 21 unique passwords were posted on the web for sale. As a result, a large number of internet users are finding ways to stop being victim of data breaches. Hence, this is where understanding firewalls comes in handy. What is a firewall, you might say? Well, at the most basic level, a firewall works like a filter between network, computer, and the internet. You can program what you want to get out and what you want to get in. Everything else is not allowed, and there are several different methods firewalls used to filter out information, and some are used in combination, and these methods of different layers of network, which determines how specific the filtering options can be. A firewall security policy is a set of rules that the firewall relies upon to determine which traffic should be allowed to pass through a network boundary. A firewall is a device, typically a hardware, software, or some cases it can be both software and hardware. Properly implemented firewalls can reduce or eliminate many network threats. Now, in order to understand what a firewall is, it's necessary to take a look at how the internet communicates with our device. The internet is a network of connections of electronic devices. Typically, when you pull up the website browser like Google Chrome, we enter in the name of the website. This request is forwarded to the internet, and within seconds, we get a reply from the device or server that stores the content we are requesting from. As a result, a website is displayed on our PC screen and such, and sometimes hackers can get access to the internet connection and they can try to steal our sensitive information. But this is where the firewall comes in handy to protect you from such adversaries. Firewall maintains a list of permitted and prohibited computers. Consider this diagram where we have a computer named Bob and one named Joe. They are the names of two computers presented in the internet. Joe loads the content of the website called www.example.com, while at the same time, Bob is the hacker's computer and its name is listed in the prohibited section of the list of the firewall. Now we have John, who has requested the URL www.example.com from their website browser, and this request is then forwarded to the internet. Since Joe stores this content of the website, it generates a reply back to John, and he's able to load the web page in his PC. At the same time, Bob the hacker hacks the connection, and he as well sends a reply. Since Bob's name is written on the prohibited list, whatever Bob has sent will be blocked by the firewall. This method of protection is called packet filtering, and the list is known as access lists. Packet filtering gateways are the simplest and most effective type of firewall. So to reiterate, packet filtering is a type of firewall that regulates network boundary access by examining the source and/or destination IP address for each packet, and as well as examine the type of transport protocol for each packet, such as HTTP, FTP, Telnet, and such. I also just want to make note that packets are not acceptable in light if the firewall security policies is discarded. In addition, firewall also keeps track of which website you are currently using. Take, for example, how you're watching this video on YouTube. Your firewall maintains a conversation list which contains the name of the computer and the name of the website that you are currently viewing. Now consider a hacker who has hacked into your internet connection. He also began sending unwanted data along with the data of the streaming video. Thankfully, your firewall knows you are accessing data from YouTube only. Therefore, whatever data the hacker has sent will be blocked by the firewall. This type of protection is known as stateful inspection. Unlike packet filtering, stateful inspection firewalls remember the network activities of the host, which in turn means that firewall remembers the identity host that represents a threat by accumulating evidence against them. Let's consider another example where you have a computer named Harry and another named Draco, and they are the two names of the computers that are connected to the internet through a third computer named Professor Snape. Harry sends a request for www.hogwarts.com. Snape receives the request and passes the request to the internet. The computer in the internet thinks that instead of Harry, Snape is requesting for the URL, which means Snape has hidden Harry from the attackers of the internet. And how Snape is able to hide Harry is with the help of something we called proxy firewalls. So in other words, to summarize, proxy firewall are the type of firewalls that runs a pseudo application which copies the behavior of real applications. Establishing network security parameters. Picture goal of a secure firewall, especially when dealing with network architecture design and implementing firewalls, should be to be able to establish a security perimeter that surrounds and protects internal information asset. You can compare this concept to a castle with a solid wall built around it. Wall serves not only as a means of keeping things away, but also as a way of keeping valuable assets such as children and animals from leaving the castle grounds without permission. A properly designed network security perimeter should be able to minimize the number of outside points of attack as well. And going back to the castle analogy, it'd be much easier to defend a castle that has one gate rather than to defend it with many gates. A useful strategy for many businesses would be to establish multiple network security perimeters around internal subsets, and you can compare this to the castle analogy again, where it has multiple layers of gates and walls. And when using this approach, less valuable assets should be kept closer to the outside network boundary, while more valuable should be protected by multiple layers of network security in this way. Even if the outer defense are breached, one or more stronger barrier will remain between the malicious intruder and an organizational value data asset. Personal firewalls, in contrast to a firewall that is implemented as a separate hardware device, a personal firewall is a firewall that is implemented as a software program. They are installed on computing devices and inspects inbound and outbound network traffic to be able to determine whether it should be blocked or allowed to pass through. Now, personal firewalls can be used to protect home computers and other personal computing devices from outside attacks, viruses, and other types of malware. To remain effective, however, these softwares must be updated on a regular basis. Now, let's move on to the demonstration of personal firewall software. The firewall software that we're exploring today is called Glasswire. And link to Glasswire is in the description down below. I am not sponsored by Glasswire. This is just a demonstration out of my sheer curiosity of wanting to learn more about firewalls. Glasswire is extremely capable, attractive, easy to use network monitor, threat monitor, and system firewall. It has great interactive, intuitive firewall features. The easy-to-use interface gives you all the information you could need about apps or processes are transmitted over your transmitting data over your network. How much data is being transmitted and what is going on, where is it going, and along with a very simple firewall that beats out any other I've used in the past. There's a free download of the software. Otherwise, if you want to invest into this product, there are different levels of payments of usage with specific restrictions and whatnot on each level. No good security features free, but for educational purposes of this video, I'm going to use the free version. For the main screen here, you're going to look at about 5 different things, which is the graph, firewall, over here, usage, things, and alerts. First off, the graph tab here, which is already displayed, shows a network of activity from your machine, both upstream and downstream, which is sorted by the different type of traffic and the app of the program that's pulling data from. Downstream is in color orange, and upstream is a color pink for my theme here. The graph here scrolls horizontally in real time with time code, and it scales based down on the data rate. You can zoom in and out on the time, positive or negative, respectively. And you can expect specific peaks and view history that goes on the back a long time, which is dependent on which version you buy, but this is free. So let's take a look here. And you can also take screenshots anytime, so you just have to pause it and use whatever application you're using to take a screenshot. And you can expect the peaks here to see what's going on. This is the information of what happened during that time. I'm going to highlight over and I'll give you better information. Yeah, and so I'm going to just go ahead and run it again here. I think it's pretty neat because you have all the information you need about what's transmitting data of your machine. It's great to great overall. It visualizes the information for you, and it makes it interesting to look at and gives you entry points to see what's happening in your network. Once you know what's going on, ooh, something just happened. Interesting. Yeah. So once you know what's going on with your network, you're gonna want to make some changes if changes is needed. So next up here, we're gonna take a look at I think the next most interesting one for me is the firewall tab. All right, this shows you currently running activity and services, what hosts they are connected to, upstream and downstream, data rates, and then a preview of the graph that we previously just saw. You can turn on and off your firewall. My firewall is currently turned off because I currently have my firewall, I guess, being my firewall is currently being enabled by another software, which I'm planning to change over to Glasswire because it's more user-friendly. It's not as user-friendly as the other one. But anyways, I do have a firewall on, so don't be scared that you see that this is off. It is, even though it's off, I believe it still can manipulate these applications. Moving on, you can enable a click to block individual apps. Click to block, and then you can just choose which one you want to block, and you can block them here. And I'm just going to turn them back on again. This is just for demonstration. The next is you have the option of making apps. Ask to connect to the external network, or you can block all traffic altogether in their lockdown mode, which can be great if external networks or block network traffic or your system is compromised and you need to restrict all network access while you clean it up. I think that's something I wish I had in the past. I honestly like the software for that so far. It definitely gives much more information about control than any other software that I've used. It just generally makes more sense. And I never understood why making a firewall UI like this is so complicated for most apps, but Glasswire has definitely got it down. The ability to block individual applications is awesome to have, to be able to directly control what apps you do, and limiting the ones that you're trying before you're deciding to buy them and such is a great option. For more detail, look at the cumulative data usage Let's take a look at the usage tab. It shows a little chart here of how much total data you've been used, whether it's outgoing or incoming, external or local. Then it sorts by apps, hosts, and locations, and traffic type, such as Vista protocol and hypertext, HTTP, normal HTTP. Again, you can sort this multiple ways and view data type differently as well. Apps, traffic. Interesting. This could be useful in comparing ISP data use, and if you have a data cap in your plan somewhere, and it can help you keep an eye on your data usage. Just keep in mind that this is measuring data usage on the machine that it's installed on and not necessarily your entire network. I think the Things tab is pretty neat as well. It shows you all the locally connected devices that are currently on your computer network or Wi-Fi. So all of the Internet of Things and such are shown here. You can view them either as DNS or IP addresses. I currently have 15, so my family members are on. But you can just go ahead and manually scan, press the scan button, and it'll scan it for you. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that. It'll take a while. And yeah. The scan button here is taking a little while here, but I personally think that it doesn't do it automatically all the time. It could be just because it's a feature of the free version. This section is neat though, to have seen what you're connected to locally and also sniff out suspicious devices. Unfortunately, you can't do anything with these. You can't manipulate or do much with these devices here. You can hover over them, but there's no way to really do anything with them. But it's great to show that it shows the information though. Oh, it went from 15 to 14. So something left. Maybe someone went to sleep. But anyways, let's take a look here. Yeah, this tab also. Yeah, but it's great information though. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the alerts tab, which is basically just an alert. Gives it when you're using Glasswire, it'll pop up alerts in the right-hand corner here, alerting when an app has access to internet. But for demonstration purposes, I've turned it off because it can be kind of annoying. On top of that, it shows information about an app that has changed or changed in DNS setting and such, and which this tab shows that you can order it by date, apps, and type. And there's more features that we should check out. It's not in any of these tabs here. It's just this is the Glasswire menu section. You can customize it whatever you like. You can go incognito if you like, but we're gonna check out the security. I'm gonna unlock this. Yes. So you have the option to manipulate how Glasswire wants to monitor stuff. Originally, this is not the default. Originally, there was less than this, but I decided to add more things. Some of the things that I turned on was Wi-Fi Evil Twin Alert, which I think is pretty neat. To have them notify me of the suspicious Wi-Fi connection. The suspicious host monitor would notify me if application initiated a connection to a suspicious host. DNS server, notify me if my DNS server settings were changed or updated. I think that's very important to see. Even ARP spoofing, notify me my MAC addresses have changed with the IP address change, which is very important, I think, when it comes to cybersecurity. I didn't turn on the while you away stuff. I don't think it's really necessary for me to really check my network activity if I'm not connected or my computer's not turned on. So I just didn't bother to turn that on. But yes, these are some of the very, very neat features of this software. I mean, let's take a look here. So if you want to keep an eye on your computer or your entire network, I believe Glasswire does a great job in doing so. It tracks network activity better than any apps I've used before, and this has one of the most intuitive firewall UI I could ever ask for. It's so easy that even those who are not in the IT field will feel comfortable using it. And as a final word of advice, if you want to keep hackers away, never shut off your firewall. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new today.